On July 17, 1955, opened an amusement park that would forever set high standards for other amusement parks all around the world. A park that would soon be recognized as the happiest place on earth, Disneyland.
Walt Disney's Disneyland.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are.
The building of Disneyland was a long and hard process before it could become the happiest place on earth. Walt Disney and his team would explore and exchange new ways and ideas on how the park would be different from other amusement parks. Other than money problems, Walt and his team would encounter people who did not believe their magical amusement park was going to work. But after long, gruesome months, Disneyland was ready to open. The dream of this Disneyland park began when Walt took his young daughters to an amusement park for the first time. Walt would wander around aimlessly and unamused while his daughters went on rides, and he would wonder as to why amusement parks couldn't be nearly as entertaining for the adults as they were for the children. He thought of maybe creating one himself, but World War II made him quickly put his plans on hold.
It came about when my daughters were very young, and Saturday was always Daddy's Day with the two daughters. So we'd start out and try to go someplace with, different things, and I would take them to the merry-go-round, and I took them different places, and as I'd sit there while they rode the merry-go-round, did all these things, sit on a bench, eating peanuts, I felt that there should be something built, some kind of an amusement enterprise built where that the parents and the children could have fun together.
Shortly after World War II, Disney's doctor suggested that he find a hobby to counter the stress that had been building up over the time from trying to keep his animation studio in Burbank, California, running during the war. Disney, who had always been fascinated with trains, decided to build a railroad that circled his backyard. This brought up thoughts of the amusement park that he had been putting off for a few years. A railroad circling the perimeter would make a wonderful feature to such a park. In 1952, Walt finally decided to make his dream a reality. He set up an organization called Walter Elias Disney, or WED, to begin planning the park. WED consisted of a few designers called Imagineers that Walt had worked with on previous projects who were well equipped to interpret his ideas. The company's name was later changed to Walt Disney Imagineering. Walt didn't want his park to be anything like the ones he had used to take his daughters to. He wanted it to be clean, unlike the other parks that were constantly trashed. He also wanted it to be entertaining for people of all age groups. He thought and thought until he finally came up with a brilliant idea to make Disneyland so different from other amusement parks. Disneyland was to be the first ever theme park, a park in which you would instantly be thrown into a storybook, a park in which all of the cartoon characters he created could come to life and interact with the visitors. They started planning, designing a park that was to be set on 8 acres. But as the idea developed, Walt realized that the 8 acres he originally planned for the park to be on wouldn't be enough. Soon, Disney owned 160 acres of land in Anaheim, California. The only problem now was that they would need $11 million to construct the park, and they had a budget of $7 million. They needed money desperately. With conventional Coney Island-type parks failing in many parts of the country, the amusement park hardly seemed like a sound investment. And when Disney sought out advice from experts, they all thought he had invented a new way of losing money. Some officers of Disney's own company were also skeptical about the idea. This included Walt's older brother, Roy Disney. "We're in the motion picture business," Roy told Disney. "We're in the animated film business. We don't know anything about this entertainment business. I don't look at that as a very good omen." Despite what people told him, Walt went ahead with his plans, financing development from his own pocket money. Major progress came in 1954 when Walt met with Herb Ryman, a past employee, and together they sketched the visual plan of Disneyland. Walt sent his brother Roy to New York to show the plans to television networks they hoped to fund the venture, but the National Broadcasting Company and the Columbia Broadcasting System refused to help them. But the American Broadcasting Company agreed to invest $500,000 in a loan of $4.5 million. In return, they would receive ownership of 35% of Disney and a weekly primetime television series from Disney. Disney created a show called Disneyland, later renamed Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color. The show consisted of teasers of Walt's park along with episodes viewing the park's main sections.
Makes no difference who you are.
Each week as you enter this timeless land, one of these many worlds will open to you. Frontierland. Tall tales and true from the legendary past. Tomorrowland. Promise of things to come. Adventureland, the wonder world of nature's own realm. Fantasyland, the happiest kingdom of them all. Presenting this week, the Disneyland Story.
Construction for the park began on July 21, 1954. The park was to be designed in a special way that had its own kind of logic. The plan called for a vintage railroad defining the perimeter of the park with its main station at the entrance of the park. All of Disneyland was conceived in terms of visual magnets that would draw people to the park and keep the crowd moving. Sleeping Beauty's castle was the greatest of these magnets. The original plan was to have the Evil Queen's castle from the movie Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but it was changed last minute to Sleeping Beauty's castle in order to promote the upcoming movie. Disney sent out special invitations to go view the park on July 17, 1955, for a press review day that would be broadcasted all across America to 90 million people. But unfortunately, the ticket got counterfeited so much that instead of the 15,000 expected guests, there were approximately 35,000 guests, and Disneyland wasn't even close to being ready. The park had just been finished the day before, and only 20 rides were able to work, and even then, a few of them broke down. The asphalt on the street had not yet set, causing women's heels to get stuck. It was one of the hottest days of the summer, with temperatures soaring above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Concessions ran out, and due to a plumber strike, Walt had to make the choice between water fountains and bathrooms. Obviously, he chose the bathrooms, but this left people dying of thirst. It was the trashiest Disneyland has ever been. This day was soon being referred to as July 17, 1955, Black Sunday, but if you were to ask a worker at Disneyland about it now, they would refer to it as Dedication Day. As soon as the evening papers hit the stands, Walt couldn't be any more disappointed with himself. It took a long time for Walt to fix his relation with the press, but he somehow managed to do it. Although the opening day didn't turn out so well, Disney was able to learn from its mistakes, and it only took a few short weeks for the park to hit 1 million guest visits. Disney was now well on its way to becoming the happiest place on earth. It wasn't long before Walt began on a new project, in which Disneyland would not only be available to people near Anaheim, California, but to other people too, and so came Walt Disney World. Disneyland had now set high standards to future theme parks, and is now 1/5 the size of Walt Disney World, but it still continues to grow, because as Walt once said, Disneyland will never be completed. It will continue to grow as long as there is imagination left in the world.